Hey guys, Floor 3 has been up on the alpha for a week now, and hopefully the release of the Catacombs will be in the next month. So let's look forward to that, and I'll talk about if it's fun. But before I do, I just remind you guys, we are less than 5,000 subs away from the YouTube rank. We've been hoping to get this thing for the last year. We're almost there. If you guys want to support the channel, be sure to subscribe. Now, is Dungeons fun? As you guys see, there's a bunch of new items. Once we actually go into the right menu, there are a bunch of new items added in dungeons, which are kind of cool if you ask me. However, a lot of them are really subpar, which is really unfortunate. I know we're only getting the first 3 floors, but right off the bat, that's a bit of a letdown. Just going through some of the gear, you can see that's not any dungeon pieces, the wither set. Now, this reduces wither damage by up to 20%, but currently on the first few floors, there are no wither enemies unless the bosses count as them, but that's kind of like not sure. Here we have like a damage type set as well, which buffs archer. There's a better one than this. Again, the pieces are to me a letdown right off the bat. However, if we keep going through, they start to get a little better and better, which is looking bright for the future, because once we get into floor 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, these pieces of the new sets will be really good. This one is what currently drops, is the zombie soldier set. It's okay, it has okay stats. Not that good of a passive, but, you know, what can you do with that? Looking at the zombie lord set, though, which I'm assuming drops, level 25 catacomb level, probably around floor 6 maybe. This looks like a good set. Gain 5 strength every minute you spend in a dungeon. Most time you spend like 10, 20, 30 minutes in a dungeon, so this is a really good ability. And you got this one, it doesn't have a skill yet, so I guess it's just a placeholder. But I guess there is some stuff to look forward to. However, right now, it's a little lackluster, but if we just wait for the future, it'll be good. There's also some pieces of equipment as well, like swords. Again, the final stat rolls on these pieces are not confirmed, because right now, they are random rolled. So you can get a really good piece, or you can get a really bad piece. And I like that, but at the same time, people are not going to be happy with that. Because everyone wants to get the best gear, and if you have to sit there and be like, alright, I got this sword that has 5 more damage, I gotta switch to this, I just wasted all my resources on this sword, people are not going to be happy with that. So I say that's a bit of an issue, although this is not the full release, we're probably still like a month away, so keep that in mind. Now, there's also boss drops. Those are also kind of interesting, but there's not too many. From the first 3 floors, these are all the geared boss drops. There's also ruins and enchantment books. Speaking of enchantment books, there's ultimate enchants now, which are pretty cool and add a little spice to your current equipment, like reducing the mana cost, giving you more defense, etc., etc. But you can only use 1 enchant per piece, so that's the only downside to them. Now, here are some of the boss drops from the first few floors. Sorry if I'm spoiling them, but it's kind of cool to know what you're going for. As you can see, you get the Bonzo staff. This thing is actually pretty solid. Like, if you go on mage, this thing will tear through things. Has really good base stats. Definitely, like, I plan on grinding for this if I'm still mage by the time the update comes out. The Bonzo mask, this is like a Phoenix mask, Spirit mask, something like that. It's good, but it's gonna be like overshone by Reaper mask, which we've talked about before. Then you have like the adaptive set. And currently, I'd say this is one of the big letdowns. It's the first full dungeon set, and its stats are really subpar. If the health defense get like a little bit of a boost, and maybe the class perk is a little better, like I understand the point of this armor is so you can be like an autofill type person, where like, okay, you play like tank, and maybe your party needs archer, for example, so you can just switch to archer, and then you don't lose too much, right? Since you already have like the bonus benefits. So it's not gonna be like the end of the world, but like I say healer would probably use this set. But besides that, I don't really see like mage using it, because that's only like 50 int per piece. It all really depends on how like certain mechanics work. Like you can farm pieces currently on the alpha a higher tier rarity, which is something else that is really interesting to think about. Because what if you get this and it's legendary? It's a lot better than its current thing. You get a higher reforge, better stats. Unfortunately, the perk won't change at all, but that can't be helped. But yeah, that's kind of currently like all there really is for on the alpha, besides like the whole doing the dungeons itself, etc., etc. But did I have fun doing that? Well, eventually we'll have a stream highlight coming out of one day when it was bugged. I had a good time, but thinking about it, the grind, how much time people got to put into it, how much struggle new players gonna have, I don't think it's gonna be fun on its current state when it's released. Because the endgame people are going to destroy it. They are just going to rush through floor 3 done. Now we're gonna struggle because we need to get those recombobulators. However, it's gonna be a nightmare for new players. With up to 10 floors and they're eventually being master mode, it is gonna get really hard. And new players might be really scared off. Because on the last cycle, we had a good example of how hard it would be for new players. By having mediocre stats, even in superior, we were struggling a bit to do floor 2. With level like 20 combat, no pet, you know? But when floor 3 came about, they buffed combat, gave people pets, and it was a breeze. So it's gonna be some hellish nightmare for like a early mid game player, and it's gonna be a total stomp for mid end game player, which is kind of lame. So the mid end game players have to wait until they release, more floors. Again, I see the difficulty probably out of our current gear being able to hold up to about floor 5, unless they start hyper scaling on floor 4. Again, this is kind of like my thoughts on it, but yeah. So it's gonna be fun in the sense as it'll be something very new for the players to do. But I think it's gonna lose its shine really quick, and people are gonna start migrating back to their old content as they realize they won't need to be playing it too much. Because with only 3 floors, only the super tryhard players will continue grinding once they pick up their adaptive gear, the new talismans, because they won't want to grind all the Furious Hot Potato books, all the recombobulators they need, because you need a lot of those things. You're going to need easily 50 plus of each of them, and they are so rare that to me, it's going to be even worse than like grinding for a dragon pet, because you'll eventually get these things, unlike that, but it's going to be a grind, like a nightmarish grind. Now, to me, a grind is fun, but I don't know how it is for you guys. I just want to have, a nice time playing new content in the game, but it's such like a tall, like there's like a mixture of entry levels for this thing. Again, you can just go in, get a few of the pieces, do the first few floors, be content, go back to doing other content. Or you can be the super tryhard, max all your gear, 5-star all your gear, which is something I didn't even talk about, is the whole, your gear gets bonus stats 2 ways. There's ones via your Catacombs level, so the more you run, the more stats your dungeon equipment has. So by doing that, your gear gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you are forced to keep playing so you can continue to be stronger when the higher floors release. Because if you pit someone with the level 30 Catacombs level and level 15, the level 30 player is just going to do so much more damage, because as you see, every level they're getting literally 8% stats, 7% stats, so that easily adds up to being like almost 100% more stats than a level 15 player. So again, there is a lot of reward to the grind and putting a lot of effort into it, but I don't think in its current state it's a fun grind. And that is because a lot of the mechanics in the dungeon are there to kind of slow you down. Like puzzles, the annoying rooms, so you gotta like maneuver around. It's not exactly how I imagined it in my head, is the thing. Now, don't get me wrong, you can speed through them and it'd be a really quick experience. However, just because it's you can get through really quick, you might not have enough score to get the best loot. And again, that's not going to be good at all. Because you're like, hey, I missed getting an S, so I don't get an obsidian chest by like 1 point, and we just wasted our whole dungeon run because we can't get a recombobulator now, or a chance to get one at least. And that's going to be, like a toxic thing, is people want to get the best loot. However, there's going to be a big struggle with people being like, oh, hey, there's this, but I cannot get it because my group trolled and we didn't do this, this, and this during the dungeon, so our score is too low to get an obsidian chest because we need 260 points and we only got 250 because Billy went and died or took all the bonus point fairies or something like that, and it just kind of like griefed the run for the rest of the players. So yeah, I'm not too sure how it's going to be received on the live server. Again, I think it's going to be something similar to Pets, where there's been such like a gap in content releases. People are just going to take and be like, yeah, it's the best thing ever. Because Pets was a good feature, don't get me wrong, but it was not the update we needed, and doesn't really fill a content gap. This will fill the content gap, but how long, it really depends on quite a few factors, but we have to wait till it's on live to really get that thought process down. At this point, I'm just rambling on, guys, so I'm gonna let you go. If you made it this far, maybe feel free to subscribe. As mentioned before, we're still really close, and I would really like to see YouTube rank someday soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully, I will see you guys in the Catacombs whenever it releases. Take care, guys. Bye.